A very good morning, students. In this, Dr. Sangamitra Das. In this particular section of international marketing, we'll be talking about the various pricing strategies that are used in the international market. So we start. So first of all, you must know what is a price actually. So price is, in fact, it is a function of the cost, and the foreign exchange rate is an important determinant of a company's cost of production. So what is price? Actually, it is the value that you're charging for in exchange for your products. That is your price. So the price variable is actually, you can see in the diagram, it is made up of two components, that is cost and profit. The cost component is further subdivided as fixed and variable cost. So, what is the process of price setting? The cost represents the baseline for setting the price. In other words, the cost represent the price floor beyond which prices cannot be dropped. Costs are made up of two components, fixed costs and variable costs. The fixed costs represent the unescapable element of cost, whereas the variable costs represent the escapable cost. The variable costs are also sometimes interpreted as marginal cost or incremental cost. Then the price also depends on the demand and the supply. The demand conditions are interpreted from the market conditions and the consumer behavior, whereas the supply conditions are interpreted by an analysis of the competition, the price charged by the competitors, and the attributes and quantity sold by the competitors set the supply parameters. Thus, for example, the prices being charged for garments by the Italians and the South Asians will determine broadly the range that can be charged by the apparel exporters. Then, while setting the price, the economic, the legal, and the political conditions also have to be taken into consideration. These parameters are outside the market forces, which influence the price structure. So, the countries where the economic policies are directed by the government, the economic and the political conditions have an important bearing on the price structures. The taxes and duty drawbacks represent excellent sample examples for the same. The legalities lengthen any process and complicate it and therefore influence the price structure. Suggested process for arriving at the price would include the following steps: analyzing the marketing goals, choosing the marketing mix, composing the marketing mix, determining the pricing policy, defining the pricing strategy, and then finally arriving at a specific price. So, these are the various ways a price is determined. If we talk about the pricing in the international market, so that is the firm life cycle. You can see over here in the diagram. So in the international marketing operation, a firm moves from the export marketing stage to international marketing to multinational marketing and finally graduating to global marketing. So at each stage, the position of the firm of its life cycle curve emphasizes the influence it will bear on the pricing decisions. The influence is likely to be felt in two ways: the marketing process it adopts and the marketing goal the firm chooses. Then, if we talk about the export marketing, it represents an entry mode for a firm in its infancy in international marketing process. At this stage, the firm has neither the requisite marketing experience nor the accompanying financial clout at its disposal. As a result of these shortcomings, it cultivates large and organized buyers and has little commitment to the market. Moreover, such a firm has little or no control over the distribution and promotion functions, owing to the above shortcomings. Therefore, price becomes the only variable that remains controllable given the product. Such a firm therefore uses price as its unique selling proposition. As already we have pointed out, the second influence is on the marketing goals and through it, the process of price settings. Because of the firm is committed to large buyers, it has little involvement with the market. So the goal of such firm is short term in nature with maximum emphasis on profit element of the price. It therefore resorts to marginal pricing to seek bulk orders. As the firm gains marketing experience, the goals become long term in nature with emphasis on market cultivation. In such cases, the firm vacillate between fixed or full cost pricing versus variable pricing. Then we talk about the various information that is actually required while you are setting the prices. The first one is product information. So, what are the various things we have to see? What are the various things which is affecting the cost? So, it has to be covering the post production cost details like the prime cost that is required for producing the product, the factory overheads, the general administrative overheads, Then you talk about the cost of distribution, which actually includes the cost of packing, the cost of selling the product, the cost of transportation, including the insurance, the distribution cost. So these are all the costs about the product. Then we have the cost of marketing, support, advertising, sales promotion, technical literature. These data may have to be obtained for the exporting countries, for competing countries, and for consuming countries as well. Then you have to talk about the nature of the product, whether a consumer or an industrial product, where you have to decide because the price will be affected by these various factors. What is the elasticity of demand of the product? Demand be pushed up by promotion or not? Importance should be given to the price quality mix. Then whether the elasticity of supply of the product. So these are all the things that have to be kept in mind when you're setting the price. Then you have to think about the export incentives, the product guarantees, the installation and after sale services, the percentage incidences of rejects. Then, while setting the price, we have to keep ourselves abreast with market information. So the first thing is market structure. That is, it must have high competition, little competition, or low competition. So you have to, while setting the price, you have to keep this in mind whether the product is facing high competition or very little competition, or is facing average competition. Then you have to keep in mind the peculiarities of the market developed in the developed and the developing countries. The particular segments in the developed countries may be interested in low price goods. Then you have to think about the ruling price in the foreign markets because included in the prices of the substitutes. Then the terms of payment offered by the competitors and the demanded by the importers. Then you have talked about the import duties, the border fiscal charges, the quota, the restrictions. The major source of supply in the importing country, local and foreign. Then, if we talk about the information that is required at the micro level, some of the strategic points of information necessary for the pricing decisions are the following: the production capacity of the firm installed as well as utilized, the proportion of total production to supply to the home market. Then, if we talk about continuing with the market information, we have to keep in mind the trade preference, the trade agreements, extent of GSP concessions if there is any, the brand image, the brand loyalty, the customer preferences, the nature of market segmentation, if any, the publicity, the need, the media, and the cost, the channels of distribution and margins allowed to various intermediaries. Then the shipping freight, the insurance, the packing, the banking, the transportation and other charges incidental to the export and documentation, invoicing requirements, health and sanitary regulations. All these information about the market has to be gathered when you're entering the international market with your product and you have to set a price for your product in the international market. Other information that is required at the micro level is proportion at present exported, that how much product you're exporting in the present times. What is the competition among the domestic firms in the export field and additional export possibilities are there or not? Then you talk about the source of price information. The domestic export statistics usually provide quantity and value of the commodities or the products that are exported. The Export Promotion Council, the bureaus also provide an idea of the possible prices at which the products could be exported. So these are the various sources from where you can get an idea about the pricing strategies you can use, or you can get an information about the various pricing strategies that are used in the market. Then you talk about the commodity price bulletins, which is issued by the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, and Food and Agricultural Organization, provide an idea of the export, the import, and the wholesale prices of the various commodities. The prices at which the commodities are traded at the various commodity exchanges are usually published. The catalogs published by departmental stores of the major developed countries can provide an idea of the prices charged for the various products from the customers. Then you talk about the reports of trade delegations could be another source of price information. Then there are various price factors as well as non-price factors which affect the pricing of a commodity. The first one is role of cost. The cost represent the baseline for setting the price. in the actually when you're pricing for your products. So in other words, you can see the cost represent the price floor beyond which prices cannot be dropped. As already we have explained that the costs are made up of two components, fixed cost and variable cost. Fixed cost represent the unescapable element of cost, whereas the variable cost represent the escapable cost. The variable costs are also sometimes interpreted as marginal cost or incremental cost. Then you have to keep in mind the demand in the market. So the demand is a factor that determines the prices in the international market. As regards demand in international market is also affected by a number of factors which are different from those operating in the domestic market. What is required is that the product must be adapted to the needs of the foreign customers may vary widely. Thus demand of the product depends upon how the product has been adapted by the suppliers. Then if we talk about competition, it increases elasticity of demand. Competition might be either brand type or functional type. Brand type refers to competition among brands of product or service which aims at satisfying the other needs. As against this functional competition refers to the type of competition where the manufacturer tries to differentiate the function of the product from its competitors. This may this he may be doing either by altering its packages or by adding attributes to the product. Now, if we talk about the non-price factors, this can be confidence, the brand image, purchase, the comprehensive knowledge of products. So, if we talk about confidence, most of the important importers of the developed countries do not have much confidence in the quality of products manufactured by the developing countries, irrespective of the fact that the quality is much better. For example, Indians have to sell the storage batteries 10% lower in Saudi Arabia than US and European Union batteries, though the quality is comparable. If we talk about the brand image, if products are well differentiated and they have built up a brand image in the mind of the foreign customers, the manufacturer of such products may charge higher prices for its products. Brand names like Bata is there, Tata is there. They have earned good brand name and are able to sell the products at higher prices. Another non-price factor is the frequency of purchase. If the customers purchase the goods very often, as is the case of non-durable consumer items, then very often think of the price where the item is durable consumer item. Products having snob value or gift item price is not the material consideration. People are ready to pay higher prices if the product appeals to them. Then you have comprehensive knowledge of the products. The importer has good knowledge of the quality of brands available in the world market. Apart from quality, he considers technical soundness, prices after sale services of the product offered by the manufacturer. Other non-pricing factors are association of price and quality. It is most commonly understood that lowest priced goods do not carry adequate value. A reduction in price may lead to reduction in demand because it has an adverse reaction in consumers. Before and after sales services, in case of valuable industrial and engineering products, both before and after sales service count much more than lower price. Continuity of supply is there or not? Regular supply of original products and its ancillary products assume great importance in foreign trade. If regular supply of original and ancillary products is not maintained, the country has all the chances to lose in international market. Then if we talk about prompt delivery, it attracts foreign buyers to pay certain higher prices for the products. Most developing countries fail to understand this. Settlement of the claims. Exporters and importers are not known. The importer will not hesitate to pay somewhat higher if there is an arrangement between the companies for prompt acceptance and settlement of the claims. Then another non-price factor can be the supply of complete range of products. So in some cases, the price of the product depends upon the fact that the producer is in a position to supply a complete range of products and in large quantities required by the importer. Now we talk about in this slide, we'll be talking about the various methods of pricing in international market. So the first one is cost plus method. This cost plus method, as the name itself, you can understand that we're talking about the total cost plus the profit. So this technique implies charging the total cost plus the profit. Costs include all the special costs incurred in international trade, such as special packing, marking, labeling according to foreign market requirements, transportation, insurance, handling, duty, insurance, handling, of the products, duties, the taxes, and the levies at different stages from the place of origin in the exporting country to the destination in foreign market, depending on the terms of sale. In this pricing method, the exporter tries to recover all costs along with the profit from overseas customers. So it may lead to high prices for the end users. It must be realized that the market situation and the nature of competition vary from country to country. Hence, it may not always be possible to apply this method. The next one is marginal cost pricing. Charging the full cost plus the profit may not be possible every time in the international transaction. Hence, depending on the nature and extent of competition, less than full cost, sometimes only the variable cost, or even less than that, may have to be charged. In a stringent situation, exporters may charge price to cover only prime costs or just material cost plus packing and other direct export marketing cost. This is known as marginal cost pricing method. This pricing strategy is followed to penetrate the foreign markets and maintain market share of the firm. Then I have differential pricing. This is the most common pricing practice in international market. As nature and extent of competition and business environment vary from country to country, and also from segment to segment, differential pricing may be followed for the same product in different markets, according to the principle what the traffic can bear. In fact, depending on the market situation, price along with other elements of marketing mix is to be adapted for effective and gainful international marketing. The next one is probe pricing. So, when a new entrant is there in the foreign market who may not have full knowledge of the market and the nature and strength of competition, he tries to probe the prospective market by quoting prices approximation relating to sales volume and value. Concessions on invoice price may be offered to attract the customer. Cost plus profit and competitor's price usually constitute the parameters of probe pricing. Then you have penetration pricing. As the name itself is suggesting that your penetration is there. So penetrating pricing in order to penetrate into new market lower than the ruling market, price may be charged. This penetration pricing may yield marginal surplus over the total cost or just cover the full cost or in some cases even the total cost may not be realized. So this method is considered feasible only when more gainful prices may be possible to be realized in future. Then we have skimming pricing. So this type of pricing is resorted to by an exporter who has a strong foothold or you can say a nearly monopoly position in a foreign market and has acquired a highly competitive position with an image of a dependable supplier of quality product with the help of a well thought out promotion program emphasizing the value derivable from the product. Higher price may be charged to maximize gains. Vanity items or items that involve high search development expenditure for manufacturing and marketing of items that are unique to a particular company or country, which cannot be easily copied by competitors, are amenable to skimming prices. The next method of pricing is the competitive pricing. So, name is itself suggesting that you're having some type of a competition. So, in international marketing, a watchful and seasoned marketer always keeps tracks of the prices quoted by competitors. He tries to adjust and adapt his prices to remain in the market. This type of pricing is known as competitive pricing. So, the alternate pricing and motivating pricing are other methods of pricing in international market. Usually, the beginners apply cost plus methods or probe pricing and follow the techniques employed by the leading firms in the market, whereas the other methods may be applied by the established marketers who have a clear understanding of the market behavior and the customer's response to various price variations. Now, if we talk about the product line pricing strategies, the first one is you can see over here price bundling, then you have premium pricing, then you have image pricing. So these are actually a set of pricing strategies which a multi-product firm can usually adopt. So an important fact to be noted is that these products have to be related. In other words, belonging to the same product family. So we start with the first one, that is price bundling. This strategy is used by a firm to even out the demand for its product. This is useful strategy for perishable time-bound products like food, hotel room, or a seat on a flight. And for products cannot be substituted, like the package of stereo music system. Off-season discounts and season tickets for music festivals are examples of price bundling strategy. This is a passive strategy aimed at correctly bundling the prices of related items so that the firm is able to maximize its profits. Then we have premium pricing. This strategy is used by a firm that has heterogeneity of demand for substitute products with joint economies of scale. You can take the example of color television set. There are different models available with different features like the one with a remote control and another TV without a remote control. Both are substitutable and satisfy the customer needs, but the firm may opt to premium price the first model and position it as the top of the product line for high income or upper income group of customers or from whom communicating that they have arrived is important. Then you have image pricing. This strategy is used when customers infer quality from the prices of substitute models or competing products. The firm varies its prices over different brands of the same product line. This strategy is commonly used in textiles, cosmetic, toilet soaps, and perfumes, etc. Then we have complementary pricing. In complementary pricing, the strategy is used by a firm that actually has This strategy is mostly used by the firm that has customers with high transaction costs for one or more of its products. Transaction costs are all those costs that a customer has to incur to buy the product, like the refrigeration fees that a flat buyer has to pay in order to be a legal owner, or the processing fees that the bank may charge to give a credit card to the customer. Then we have the captivating pricing strategy. Here, a special price deal is offered to loyal customers or those who are regularly buying one of the products of the firm. A typical example is of that of Gillette shaving cream, which offers two twin blades free with its razors to induce the buyer to purchase its blades. Kodak adopted this strategy when it offered a film roll free to all buyers who bought its camera. As may be observed, this is a strategy aimed at building the customer loyalty. Then we can also have loss leader strategy. This is another example of complementary pricing strategy. This strategy involves dropping the price on a well-known brand to generate demand or traffic at the retail outlet. Then you have two-part pricing. This strategy is used for products that can be divided into two distinct parts. For example, membership of a video library has two parts. One is the membership fee, which is annual, and the other is rent for each time frame for which video cassette is rented. As may be observed, the price has two components, the fixed fees and the variable usage fees. So these were the various methods of pricing that we have talked about in this particular video. In the next video or in the next session, we'll be talking about the various methods of price quotation or the various Incoterms that are used in the international market for doing the international business. So students, thank you from my side for today. Thank you, students.